Disclaimer, this story may include graphic details. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, everything I say is satire. Please don't take it seriously. Thank you and enjoy the video. So here's the situation. The story is set on a large piece of rock next to Japan called Utajima, and our main character is a boy named Shinji. He works as a fisherman, and his skin is black.
Whoa, hey!
I mean, his skin is dark because he works all day under the sun every day. Now, there's this girl whose name is Hatsui, and she's hot, like Jennifer Lawrence meets Lord Farquaad hot. But she's also the daughter of the richest man on the island. She was living in another place, but then Mr. Richmond's son died because no can't breathe, and he was feeling a little bit lonely, so he goes like, Hatsui, Simon says you're coming home. Capiche? Capiche. The boys on the island have a gathering they go to called the Young Men's Christian Association, but minus the Christian bit, so instead of it's more like and the leader, whose name is Yasuo, is the son of the leading family on the island, and he's a and everyone was like, he gonna marry that hot girl, and Shinji was like, who? And everyone was like, Hatsui. So then Shinji runs up a mountain to pray and goes like, dear God, let me get hot girl, amen. Shinji is going to the high ground to get some firewood, and he meets Hatsui, who's crying. And he goes like, why are you crying? Hatsui tells him that she's lost in the woods. So he decides to bring her down the mountain himself. And during that time, he's been staring at her boobs. This is not a joke, you can go check it in the book. And she calls him black. This is also not a joke, you can check it in the book. Shinji meets Hatsui at the beach at night by pure luck. And Hatsui says she isn't marrying Yasuo, and Shinji gets excited and then gets all touchy-feely on Hatsui. It touches her and she likes it, even though she did not give consent.
Stop! You violated the law!
Then they engage in the act of touching lips, in which Shinji says it tastes like weed from the sea. But I'm not sure that's exactly what So there's this other girl who's coming back from Tokyo, and her name is Chiyoko, and she fancies Shinji, so Hatsui's sad, but then Shinji says she doesn't like Chiyoko, and now Hatsui happy. A lot of water is falling down from the sky, so the boats can't sail, which means Shinji is free for the day, and so he decides to slide into Hatsui's DM.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Quick editor's note here. I know how I said that everything happened in a cave. No, it didn't. It actually happened in the storeroom, an abandoned storeroom. So yeah, sorry for the confusion. Yeah.
Shinji, being an absolute Chad, decides to get there first, and he starts a fire, but then he falls asleep. Meanwhile, Hatsui casually approaches a sleeping Shinji and is covered in rainwater. So she decides to dry her clothes by the fire, and yes, she takes off all her clothes, she's naked. But then Shinji, being the closet pervert he is, decides to peep out and sees Hatsui naked. And Hatsui finds out, and she goes like, oh my god, you pervert, look away. And Shinji goes like, and points out the fact that she usually is naked anyway. Context time. So Hatsui is a shellfish diver, and basically when they come up from the dive, they dry themselves off by a fire and become completely naked during this process, and this is completely normal to them, and they don't see anything weird with it, so technically Shinji has a point here. So Hatsui goes like, if I'm naked, then you gotta be naked, and me reading the book, I was like, hell nah, but Shinji was like, no, he's got a point. Then he takes off their clothes, and they go home. But Chiyoko saw them walking home from the cave, and she was like,
Hold up! Wait a minute! Something ain't right!
Then Yasuo goes into sneak mode and starts stalking Hatsui, trying to sneak up on her to do not Christian things. But when he's on a tree waiting for Hatsui, a bee decides to sting him, so he falls.
Oh another quick editor's note here. Yasuo was hiding behind a lamppost, not inside a tree. So my bad, I read the page wrong, so yeah. Anyways, yeah, he's hiding behind a lamppost, not a tree. Then he grabs Hatsui and tries to seduce her, which fails because the bee decides to keep assaulting Yasuo, which results in Hatsui hitting the dash and Yasuo making a deal with her to prevent everyone from realizing that Yasuo enjoys the act of sneaking up on young girls. Meanwhile, Chiyoko gets jelly belly of Shinji x Hatsui because she likes Shinji and starts telling everyone that Hatsui and Shinji spreads like fire, and then their parents find out, and Mr. Richmond was like, you're no longer allowed to meet that hot fisherman. Now both Hatsui and Shinji are depresso espresso, so they decide to contact each other by some sort of weird technology called letters. Chiyoko has to go back to Tokyo now, but she's sad because she made 2 people depresso espresso, and she keeps thinking she's super ugly, but in reality she really isn't, and she asks Shinji, am I ugly? And Shinji was like,
What?
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So then she happy. Shinji's mom notices her son is not happy and decides to confront Mr. Richmond to ask him to let his daughter start a relationship with Shinji. But Mr. Richmond hits the dash and refuses to meet her, so she starts yelling some nasty stuff like,
Your mom's out.
then she rage quits. The girls on the island are fishing for some fish in the shell and they're drying themselves by the fire, probably singing when an old dude shows up. Now when an old man pops up while you're naked, your first impulse is to cover yourself up and run. But my man has Gucci bags. And do you know the one thing girls love? Simping for hot Korean boys. But you know another thing girls love? Bags. They love bags. And now the old man knows this, so he tells everyone that whoever catches the most fish in the shell in the next hour gets a free Gucci bag, and now all the women went nuts. Obviously Hatsui wins, but then she decides to gift the free Gucci bag to Shinji's mom, and Shinji's mom was like,
Oh my God! Wow!
Shinji suddenly gets an invitation to join a cargo boat as an apprentice alongside Yasuo, and apparently both were recommended by Mr. Richmond, so Shinji instantly goes,
Wait a minute!
but he joins anyways, and when they're coming back to the island, there's a big storm, so the boat cannot continue, otherwise they'll do a 180 flip in the water, and I promise you that's not fun.
Please help me.
But the rope tying them to the other boat is ripped, so the captain throws Shinji overboard and goes like, go tie a new rope onto the other boat. So then thanks to the power of plot armor, Shinji survives to tie the rope onto the other boat, and the boats return safely. Meanwhile, Chiyoko confesses to her mom that she made up the rumor that Shinji and Hatsui and everybody is suddenly very happy by this news, and Mr. Richmond was like, I'm adopting you, Shinji, so you can marry my daughter in the future. I give this story 6 holy chickens out of 2 hours wasted reading this book.